we're so happy to have Ryder here with us and Alia. Okay, so continuing the interview, we want to know about your journey of 7 years of founding your organization.
So, I'm the founder. He's the co-founder. And throughout these 7 years, I'd say it's been a very transformative journey. We started by writing a book with 25 kids, which is 50 families in Canada. I was studying in Canada back then. He was the youngest of the bunch. He was the one with the brightest ideas. In fact, his superhero, because we were writing sci-fi books back then, his superhero was called Pipe Man.
Okay.
And mine was called Lightning Girl. And so we spent every week with those 25 kids writing books for 3 straight months. No quitting, just 3 straight months during the summer. And we were like, you know what? We have a manuscript. We have this product. Let's go see if we can publish it. So me and him, we go to different banks. Remember which banks you've been to?
Yeah, we also did a fundraiser for BC Children's Hospital using those books that we created.
Wow.
And we used those fundraising money to help the sick kids in the hospital, and promote our idea of keep on dreaming, never give up, and one day you can change the world for the better, to really uplift those kids who might be down at that moment.
We also donated 100 copies of our book to them as a testament to the creativity that can impact the world, as well as $2,850 in Canadian through our 6 months of entrepreneurship. We started at the Cannery Market. It was so cold there. It was winter. It was snowing. And then we went all the way to the Rotary Club where all the community leaders, the big company CEOs were, and our major clients were the Rotary Club and the mayor of Vancouver. So that was our biggest success back then. And then pandemic rolled around the corner.
Oh.
And I went back to Hong Kong.
Yeah.
And I went to a very, very local school, but they gave me a lot of support. So while I was learning Chinese all over again, I thought, why not do a similar project? So I had students from my school in Hong Kong, students from China, as youth from Canada, where he led them to do a first culture exchange between these 3 places to write our second book and third book. We had English and Chinese ones. So I'll explain a Superbund supernova pandemic. That book was about what we were going through during the pandemic and what would happen if we brought it to the universe. Guess how much research we did on that?
I can't predict the Gen Alpha. What did you guys do?
Since at that time it was the pandemic, right? We based a lot of it on that and took a lot of inspiration from real life things. For example, the main problem of our book was that a virus was spreading around and, doing virus things. And the reason this happened was because people in the book were putting all their pollution and trash into space, and that caused the formation of a virus. And then we came up with some ideas on how we could solve that in real life and in the book. For example, we could take all that, put it in a energy generator and burn it up to create energy in the book, and that's what we did for how we solved the problem.
And the second one was a scientific explanation of the first one. It was Chinese translated, by the way. And we did another fundraiser for Source Action with kids who lived in subdivided flats during the pandemic, mind you. And then with those kids in 2024, metaverse, blockchain, Web 3.0, big hit. They were the biggest topics back then. And we didn't even know a single thing until we were research. We started to think how metaverse is not just an opportunity for business, but an opportunity for lifestyle and positive energy. So we included the kids who lived in subdivided flats to write with us, and the other kids who were with us before in those previous books to write their 4th book. And we finally had this technology transformation and finally took training in the Greater Bay Area. I was invited to be an Ignite Talk speaker by the Women of Influence Awards and Summit. I was also a speaker at the HSBC APAC Open Day, which led me to exposure of 400 more leaders. And when I went to middle school that year, he led the very first technology project, the Ghost Pod Tech collaboration.
In that project, we had around like 50 kids from per school, and we discussed about futuristic technology and how we can implement that into since we wanted to bring our ideas from the book to real life. We talked about how we can implement that to the ghost pod, which is a mode of transportation from our books.
It's invisible.
Yeah, invisible technology and MENA materials, which are materials that are like artificially created and have special properties.
We had 4 metaverse specialists prove it could happen in metaverse, a physicist who proved it could happen in reality, and we visited DJI, the leading drone company, and EHang, the leading air taxi company. And we took 70 students to those places. And I also invited the speakers I was speaking with to my school to speak with the students about different societal aspects, because if you want to bring a product out to society, you have to understand the different aspects of society. But now we're more into the VR stuff. We collaborated with Apple, Google directed flew from San Francisco to look at the students' work, by the way. And then we have the Superbund virtual society. That was the part where we learned what we thought about. Why are we still stuck in an education system of thousands of years and it hasn't changed? Why are we still stuck in a societal system that it hasn't changed much, to be honest? And that's why we started thinking, what would a Gen Alpha ecosystem look like? And how would it look like virtually? So Superbund Virtual Society first exposure was at my school, the Hong Kong Baptist University affiliated school. And in that school, during the week campaign, we proved to everyone how VR and AI doesn't stray apart people, but brings people together and strengthens humanity. TEDx Teen Hao Woman 2024 commissioned us to create a virtual space for that event in 2024, and we basically displayed all the speaker bios and our work in there, and we were sponsored by Apple with the Apple Vision Pro to expose that to a lot of leaders yet again. And that was another testament of how we're taking action, and not just like before, how we're just writing books and letting the words do action. We're taking action ourselves due to newest modes, the latest modes of, action making, which is technology, and starting to put more action to it. And then finally, our Gen Alpha ecosystem. It's amazing, really. We have avatar registration. So imagine with me. This is a box, okay? We have a box and you can shape it to look however you like or whoever you want to be in the future. Yeah, right. If I want to be you in the future, I have to learn how to, be really good at public speaking, how to be really good at interviewing people, how to make the right connection. Please. So you know what happens? We have the avatar registration, and you have the knowledge center, and that's where you're gonna learn everything. So let's say a child of 6 years old, they go to the knowledge center, they take courses, they have an AI tutor, I personally take university courses to learn something new. They have courses and all these at their fingertips. They don't need to go to some, curriculum that is structured for them, but they build their own curriculum and they gain the necessary knowledge for them to start the entrepreneurship that they need. Now you might think, what if they change their mind? Kids change their mind all the time. That's fine. The course is there for you always. You just need to learn what you think you need to learn, and you need to build what you think you need to build. So entrepreneurship registration, if you look at incubator and venture competitions, the truth is 10% to 20% really survive from the number of entry, right? Only 10% of those numbers that survive actually make it in 5 years, but with the equity of 3%. That is terribly low. And that really doesn't encourage us to, start being entrepreneurs. So that entrepreneurship registration is a simulator without any time or financial restraint, so that anyone who goes there can be able to confidently go through that process of entrepreneurship without any restraints while having a live audience, which means you're gaining live traction from that part. And by the time you actually have a product and you register in our job center, the fourth part, then that audience becomes your company. And that helps you register it in virtually and in reality with enough funding, and that gives you markets from both sides. And then finally, you have the virtual asset system, which is where all your activity gets stored to blockchain and NFT. You heard of NFT, right?
Yeah, I think I did. Yes.
So your avatar, as I mentioned, it's an empty box. that virtual asset system is going to go into your avatar. So let's say you've been doing so many interviews, you're so amazing. That's going to be in your avatar. And no one can actually duplicate you. No one can make fake accounts of you. No one can do that. And you get to do whatever you want, whatever activity you want, and every activity is money. So that is what happens with your avatar. And if you want to have a brand for your business, your avatar can change because you will be able to learn 3D graphics, AI agents, all that with the avatar. So that's our concept of how a virtual Gen Alpha ecosystem should look like. And a model of the entrepreneur registration is the Superbund bonding space. So as I told you, I have a connection here in Saudi Arabia. So I thought with the Saudi Vision 2030, we should be doing culture exchanges with youth around the world. And I started with doing youth of my community, which is in Hong Kong. And so on August 21st with Ryder, we did the very first virtual culture exchange on our MVP of the Superbund bonding space with the youth of Saudi Arabia. And we had in Hong Kong, we had 5 speakers of different generations talk about the culture, vision, and development of Saudi and Hong Kong, and really gave insight to have those youth take action. And we also had esports competition as a social connection of our generation to kind of just get everyone to connect together. And that's where we are, that's why we're here now. Because we're here to make the virtual to reality culture exchange between Hong Kong and Saudi Arabia reality part come true. And that is the diamond repurposing program. And we're like, we should just stop at human connections. We should do something about those human connections.
Yes, it's so much fun talking about your journey of the 7 years. And now we want to know, what are you planning to in the future? What are you willing to achieve?
Amazing question. So we're here on this trip right now is because we want to make the base of connections so that in April we can take a group of Hong Kong students to Saudi Arabia and attend the WPC Energy Fair. We're aiming for that. You know why? Because we want to make the diamond to energy. And also we want to indulge more into Saudi Vision 2030 in April. And we also want to learn more about tech development. So that is what we plan for the future. His sister is now the ambassador. She's 7. And she's now in charge of the blueprint. So we have 3 parts of our structure. We have blueprinting, tech, and strengthening humanity. Right now, we're more into strengthening humanity and tech. So that's where we're, forming our diamond purposing journey. But the blueprint is where kids like our ambassador, who's 7. Her name's Elise, by the way. So she's gonna have kids around her age do like the blueprint, because we talked about Gen Alpha ecosystem. What about the future generation ecosystem, right? So she's gonna do the blueprinting of that part. The system's gonna change, unlike the current one. And it's going to change, and so everyone in that system, has the chance to take action. Youth of our age, of any age, should be able to take action and actually make impact into the society as a society for the future. So that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, the blueprint is basically idea generation, and it really aligns with what we were doing too, because it allows kids to really voice their ideas and put it out there in the world.
So thank you so much for being here at the Young Marketeers Effectiveness Masterclass. It was very nice having you, Ryder and Alia. Hope to see you again in Saudi Arabia. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.